All right, welcome back, everyone. Today, we're taking a deep dive into teacher career progression.
Yeah, focusing on how Turkey is tackling that.
Right. And we're lucky to have some great source material to work with.
Absolutely, yeah.
A research article all about teacher career step exams in Turkey.
Interesting stuff. And it really reflects a global conversation, about how teachers are supported and evaluated.
Yeah.
But to understand this system in Turkey,
Okay.
a bit of a history lesson might help to see how teacher training and development have evolved.
Perfect. Love a good history lesson.
Well, some of the big questions about teaching, believe it or not, go way back
Really? How far back are we talking?
to ancient Greece.
Wow.
Think Socrates
Okay, yeah.
and his methods,
Mm-hmm.
dialogue and critical thinking.
Right.
Was he saying teachers are born with these skills or that they can be taught?
Interesting. That's a question we still ask today, right?
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
like the nature versus nurture debate. But for teachers.
I like that, yeah.
And as you look through history, well, different approaches pop up.
Okay.
Well, in the 17th century,
Uh-huh.
you had Jean-Jacques Rousseau
Oh, yeah.
advocating for education that, nurtured kids' curiosity.
Makes sense.
But then in 19th century Germany,
Okay.
Wilhelm von Humboldt, he pushed for a more research-oriented approach.
Like teachers should be mini academics.
Exactly.
Fascinating to see how these early ideas still influence us today.
Absolutely.
One example I find really interesting is
Yeah.
the normal schools in the U.S. back in the late 1800s and early 1900s.
Right.
Schools specifically for training teachers.
It was a big shift.
Yeah, like teaching was finally being recognized.
As a real profession,
Yeah, requiring specialized training.
you got it.
So that's a glimpse at global teacher development. But now let's zoom in.
On Turkey, right.
Exactly. How did their system develop?
Like a lot of nations, they've been influenced by global trends,
Uh-huh.
but also their own unique cultural and political landscape. For example, the 1924 Law of National Education.
Okay.
That laid the foundation for their modern education system.
It all starts somewhere.
Right. And then in 1933,
Yeah.
a major reform came along,
Yeah.
focused on training professional teachers.
Seems like they were ahead of the curve there.
They were dedicated.
Yeah.
And this focus on professional development continued.
It did, yeah. There were reforms in the 1960s. And then that major education policy document in 2005,
Yes.
followed by national teacher standards in 2006.
That's right.
Wow, a lot happened in a short time.
They really emphasized teacher quality and growth.
So this all leads to that career step system,
Implemented in 2005.
the focus of our research article.
Exactly. This system was all about giving teachers a structured path
Okay.
to advance in their careers based on their performance.
Sounds good so far.
It established 3 main career steps:
And those were?
teacher, expert teacher, and senior master teacher.
Okay. Makes sense. Creating those benchmarks to reward accomplishments.
Yeah. But sometimes things don't always work out.
Oh, I know that feeling.
Like how things look on paper versus reality.
Exactly. And that's where this research gets really interesting.
Tell me about it.
These reforms, and especially the career step exams from 2022,
Mm-hmm.
well, they sparked some controversy.
It did. Some serious debate among teachers.
Teachers in Turkey were not thrilled.
Not exactly a glowing endorsement, though.
No. And your research digs into this controversy by looking at their opinions.
Right. How are these reforms actually experienced by the teachers?
By those on the front lines of education.
Exactly.
So let's get into it. What did the teachers have to say about this exam?
To be blunt, the majority. Not impressed.
Really?
Lots of concerns.
Yeah.
About fairness and relevance.
Interesting. They didn't think it reflected their skills and experience.
Not really, no.
Can you give us some specific examples? What did they find problematic?
Well, one of the biggest criticisms, the exam focused on memorization
Oh.
and theoretical trivia, rather than practical teaching skills.
So they felt it didn't measure their ability to manage a classroom.
Right. Or meet the needs of their students.
I see, yeah. Knowing the theory is one thing, but putting it into practice is another.
Absolutely.
Did they offer any suggestions for a better assessment?
They did. Many felt a system valuing real-world experience and practical skills would be better.
Okay, yeah.
Recognizing their years in the classroom, their ability to connect with students.
To problem solve?
Exactly. Those are the things they felt should matter more.
Makes sense to me. It's like judging a chef on ingredients, not on the taste of their food.
Perfect analogy. Teaching is dynamic. It's interactive.
You can't capture that in a multiple choice test.
Nope.
So the exam content was a major issue, but were there other frustrations with the system?
Oh, yeah. like the waiting period.
To take the exam.
Even be eligible.
And how long was that?
10 years.
10 years.
To progress to the next career step.
Wow, that's a long time to wait for recognition.
It is. And many teachers felt it stifled their growth.
Yeah, like being stuck in first gear.
Exactly. And speaking of feeling stuck, there's another issue. The reform exempted teachers.
From taking the exam?
Yes. Teachers with master's degrees.
Okay.
Regardless of what their master's was in.
So someone with a master's in, say, underwater basket weaving
Right.
could become a senior master teacher with no classroom experience.
That's right.
And the teachers who had put in years of work, they felt that was unfair.
Very much so. It devalued their practical experience.
Like academic credentials were prioritized over actual teaching ability?
Exactly.
Wow, so this exemption really caused some problems. And it raises some big questions.
It does.
About what we value in teachers, right?
Yes.
And how we define expertise in such a complex profession.
You've hit the nail on the head. It seems using a single exam to determine career progression,
Yeah.
maybe not the best approach.
So that leads us to a crucial question, right?
A big one, yes.
If not a single exam, then what? What alternative systems could be more effective?
And more fair.
That's what we'll explore as we continue our deep dive. So stay tuned, we're just getting started.
You know, reading these teachers' opinions, one thing that jumps out is this feeling of being undervalued.
Yeah, like you're not being heard.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it makes sense.
Yeah.
They're the ones in the classrooms every day,
Yeah.
shaping young minds.
Right.
Their voices should matter.
Absolutely. When it comes to decisions about their profession.
Of course. It's about respect, yeah. But it's more than that.
Okay.
It's recognizing their expertise, that they're professionals.
And that their expertise should be considered.
Yes. When policies are made that affect their work.
And the research mentions this, the impact on teacher morale.
Oh, for sure.
Tying career progression to one exam.
Yeah.
Must create a ton of pressure.
It does. A lot of anxiety. And some teachers even said they felt
What?
humiliated, degraded even.
Yeah, that's intense.
It is. Like the exam undermined their professional identity.
So the exam itself became a symbol
Of this disconnect.
between policymakers and teachers.
You got it. And it highlights something really important. Involving teachers,
In the process.
not just as, recipients of policy,
Right.
but as active participants.
Because they know best.
Exactly. Who understands the classroom better than the teachers?
Nobody. And at the end of the day,
Yeah.
what's good for teachers is good for students.
100%. Happy teachers are effective teachers.
Exactly. It's all connected. So we need to attract and retain talent.
Yes.
Okay.
By creating a system that respects and empowers teachers.
Okay, so we focused on the downsides.
Of the exam and the career steps system.
Right. But to be fair, the research did mention.
Some potential benefit.
Yeah, like maybe it encouraged teachers to,
Pursue further education.
Yeah.
That was the idea.
Yeah.
The exemption for master's degrees.
To incentivize professional development.
Right. But, as we talked about, how it was implemented?
Yeah.
Well, problematic.
It didn't ensure those degrees were relevant to teaching.
Exactly. Which created a whole other set of problems.
Good idea in theory, but...
Needed some work in practice.
Yeah. And it raises those questions about incentives
For sure.
that actually support teacher growth,
And that are fair to all teachers.
regardless of their background or credentials.
You got it.
Okay, so we've talked about the problems, but I'm curious about this.
What's that?
What did teachers suggest instead? It's one thing to critique,
Right.
but did they offer solutions?
They did. Lots of ideas. Many liked a system based on years of service.
Like seniority.
Yeah. Similar to some other countries.
That seems fair. You dedicate years to the classroom.
It should count for something.
Exactly. It recognizes experience.
And the expertise that comes with it. The practical wisdom.
Yeah. Okay, so seniority. Were there other alternatives?
Oh, yeah. Professional development was a big one.
Okay.
But more focused.
In what way?
Relevant to their actual needs
Ah,
and interests.
I see.
More hands-on workshops, for example.
Okay.
Peer mentoring. Or even action research in their own classrooms.
So instead of just checking boxes, they want real learning experiences that'll benefit their students.
Exactly. Empowering them to be active in their own growth.
Love that. Seniority, targeted professional development. Anything else?
Some teachers suggested a more comprehensive evaluation system.
Okay. Tell me more.
That includes classroom observations,
Okay.
feedback from students and parents,
Oh, wow. Getting everyone involved.
and contributions to the school community.
So it's like a 360-degree view of the teacher.
Exactly. Effective teaching. It's so much more than just content.
It's about relationships.
Yeah.
Creating a positive environment.
And fostering community.
These are great ideas, but I have to ask this.
Go ahead.
Aren't these alternatives more complex than just one exam?
You're right. It would take more resources, more commitment from policymakers.
To develop and implement?
But it's worth it.
You're saying if we truly value teachers and want a system that supports them, recognizes their expertise, we need to invest.
In a more nuanced approach.
Even if it's more challenging.
Exactly. And I think these teachers' opinions make that clear.
That the investment is worth it.
It is.
This whole issue of career progression, it's really part of a bigger conversation about how we value teachers.
As a society.
How we support those who educate our children.
Absolutely. And it's a conversation happening everywhere.
In countries all over the world.
That's right.
So as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, what are some key takeaways?
I think the biggest one is this. Teachers' voices matter.
Yeah.
Their experiences, their perspectives, their ideas.
We need to hear them.
To shape policies that work, that are fair.
Absolutely. And on that note, we want to hear from you, the listener.
Yes. What are your thoughts on this? What resonates with you?
What alternative approaches to teacher career progression can you imagine?
What would a truly supportive system look like?
This is a real issue that affects all of us.
Whether you're a teacher,
parent,
a student, or just a concerned citizen.
Your voice matters in this conversation.
It does.
We've covered a lot today.
We have.
From ancient Greece to modern Turkey.
A real whirlwind tour. And we even heard from teachers directly.
Through that research.
Yeah.
It's amazing how much teaching has changed.
It is. But some things stay the same.
Like what?
Those big questions. What makes a great teacher? How do we support that?
How do we recognize excellence?
Exactly.
And those questions, well, they're more important now than ever.
I think so.
When you think about the challenges facing education.
Everywhere, really.
Teacher shortages. Funding cuts. Changing student needs.
A lot to handle.
We expect so much from teachers. It's like they have to be superheroes. They're not. They're human.
They need support, recognition.
A system that helps them thrive.
Couldn't agree more. And this research, it shows us we need to move beyond those simple solutions.
Like a single exam.
Yeah. For a whole career. Doesn't cut it.
We need a more holistic approach.
Absolutely.
That recognizes how complex teaching is.
And the talents teachers bring.
Because it's not just about assessing them.
It's about supporting their growth.
Creating a culture of improvement.
Where they can learn and grow throughout their careers.
Because teaching, it's more than a job.
It is.
It's a passion, a commitment, shaping young minds.
Well said. And it's a huge responsibility.
One that deserves our respect and support.
Absolutely.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, one last question for you, the listener.
Okay, I'm listening.
If career steps based on a single exam aren't the answer.
Right.
What other systems can we imagine?
What would work better?
What would be more fair? What would honor teachers?
Their dedication, their expertise, big questions.
And worth thinking about.
It's not about quick fixes.
It's about dialogue, exploring different ideas, working together.
To create a system that truly values teachers.
Because they're the ones shaping our future.
They are.
And on that note, time for us to step out of the classroom.
Class dismissed.
But keep thinking about these issues. How we support educators.
It matters.
Until next time, keep those minds curious and keep diving deep.